A powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake has left parts of Colombia in ruins, killing at least 111 people and destroying structures. Rescuers are now racing against time to locate the survivors trapped beneath the rubble. We'll get you more on that front.
Well, also on the show, the war of words between Washington and Tehran is escalating, with U.S. President Donald Trump now demanding reparations from Iran. The move comes after Tehran sought compensation for the devastation caused by the conflict, and Trump is now calling on Tehran to pay war reparations, citing the U.S.'s cold bombing and the deaths of Iranian protesters. It is escalating an already tense standoff. We'll get you all the details on that and much more on World DNA. Let's begin with the headlines.
A powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake strikes Colombia, killing at least 111 people and damaging over 1,500 buildings. State of emergency declared in the country as rescue teams search for people trapped beneath the rubble.
Washington Post reports Donald Trump secretly left Turkey on a small aircraft last month after an alleged Iranian assassination threat. Trump was transferred from Air Force One before flying to Britain.
They asked for money for the damage that we've done. I said, that's a good idea. Well, we're going to ask for money for the damage they've done over a 50-year period.
Donald Trump demands Iran pay compensation for deaths linked to wars, attacks and protests, responding to Tehran's reparations demands amid renewed peace efforts and negotiations over Strait of Hormuz.
Ukrainian officials say 5 killed and 20 others wounded in Russian attacks on Zaporizhzhia. Kiev, too, comes under a ballistic missile attack, with residents reporting explosions after midnight.
Two people killed in a shooting at an elementary school in United States, Chicago. Local media reports a 63-year-old man and 48-year-old woman found unresponsive and later pronounced dead at a hospital. Investigation underway.
Turkish lawmakers approve limited amnesty for some PKK militants who disarm, marking a key step towards ending decades of violence. However, the law leaves unclear the future of jailed PKK founder Abdullah Öcalan.
BJP calls statewide Jharkhand Bandh over alleged police atrocities against students protesting recruitment exam irregularities. CM Hemant Soren says students' concerns were heard and assured their demands would be considered.
Trump administration revokes more than 175,000 U.S. visas since January 2025 as part of a sweeping immigration crackdown. State Department says most cancellations involve criminal activity, visa violations, fraud, or national security concerns.
Afghanistan beat Ireland by 3 wickets in a thrilling run chase. Bowling all-rounder Rashid Khan's heroics ensured a place for Afghanistan in the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup 2027. Afghanistan lead the 5-match ODI series 2-0.
And a top story in world DNA, Colombia has declared a state of emergency after a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake killed at least 111 people and left a trail of destruction.
But the true scale of the disaster may not yet be known. The quake struck just after 7:30 in the morning. The worst of the damage is emerging from Choco, the region surrounding the earthquake's epicenter. Rescuers are still searching collapsed buildings for survivors. Nearly 1,900 people were reported missing on Monday night through family-run registries set up to help locate loved ones.
The city of Cali suffered power, water, and internet outages, while several buildings were reported collapsed or severely damaged. Fearing aftershocks, many residents have chosen to remain outside their homes.
Very stressful, very intense. It was pretty powerful. And we're here with the family, waiting to see what solutions there are or what's going to happen.
The impact also disrupted transport and public life, with 6 airports suspending operations. Meanwhile, in Quibdó, residents described the tremors as terrifying.
It's really shocking that people, just imagine, I saw people running out naked, people jumping from their homes, from the second floor, people in desperation.
President Abelardo de la Espriella, who took office only days ago, traveled to Quibdó after declaring the emergency. The U.S. Geological Survey said the quake struck at a depth of about 110 kilometers and was likely caused by movement along a deep fault within the Nazca tectonic plate.
Now, the United Nations and the European Union have reached out to assess damage and ensure rescue and relief operations. The US, Mexico, Ecuador, France and Israel have also offered help. The earthquake is the latest major disaster to strike the region after 2 devastating quakes hit Venezuela in June, killing thousands of people. Now, a quick agreement to end the West Asia war seems further out of reach as US President Donald Trump puts forth another demand.
And he says he would seek conflict compensation from Tehran as part of any peace negotiations, signing attacks and killings backed or perpetrated by Iran, even those that stretched back decades.
His announcement is in direct response to Tehran's insistence that U.S. payment of war reparations are a precondition to any resolution of the ongoing hostilities.
They asked for reparations, you might say, or they asked for money for the damage that we've done. I said, that's a good idea. Well, we're going to ask for money for the damage they've done over a 50-year period. Whether you go SS Cole or whether you go all of the people that were so badly hurt, so badly wounded or killed, many thousands of people, and maybe damages for the 52,000 protesters over the last 4 months that were killed in Iran.
Now, Trump this weekend said he was low-keying his approach to the war, suggesting that he was prepared to let economic pressure mount in place of further military strikes.
Shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, which is now central to talks aimed at ending the war, it remains disrupted by Iranian forces as the U.S. naval blockade tightens its grip on the Iranian ports. While Iran and Oman have said they are close to reaching an agreement on the strategic waterway, Trump has claimed that the U.S. is only semi-negotiating with Iran.
Now, Tehran has conditioned the full reopening of Hormuz on the U.S. ending its blockade of Iranian ports and lifting oil and economic sanctions, but Trump claims it is already open.
Well, it's open now. We're taking a lot of shit. It's open now. Look, the only one that has control of the Strait of Hormuz right now is the United States Navy. We have a blockade that's been infallible. It's a steel wall. and we let people in that we want to let in, and those people come in, and they've been coming in and they're going out. So it's actually open now. We do not let them go into Iran. They're not admitted into the strait to go to Iran, but it's open for others.
Earlier, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent reportedly claimed that sanctions were suffocating Iran. In response, Iran accused the Trump administration of being addicted to economic restrictions.
Tehran appears undeterred by both sanctions and military strikes, or at least that is the image it seeks to project. President Masoud Pezeshkian has stressed that the calculations of the United States and Israel, which he claims are based on artificial intelligence data and espionage networks, have been thwarted one after another.
While speaking at a conference at the University of Tehran, Pezeshkian said Iran's stability and security owed much to the guidance, exceptional foresight and prudence of the country's late supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. He later told state television that his recent meeting with Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei lasted 7 hours, during which they discussed a range of domestic issues, including people's livelihoods and the state of the market. However, the war still remains in focus.
On Monday, Iran's supreme leader announced major reshuffling of the country's military and IRGC command center, making 6 new appointments. Major General Pilot Ali Abdullahi has been appointed Chief of Staff of Iran's Armed Forces, replacing the late Abdul Rahim Mousavi. Brigadier General Kiomars Haidari has been named his deputy.
This even as Mojtaba Khamenei has made no public appearances since becoming supreme leader. So questions about his whereabouts have deepened this weekend after Iranian media released an undated video purportedly showing him.
Israel has reportedly received its most advanced and costly submarine from Germany.
This adds a new layer to its strategic defenses at a time when regional tensions continue to rise across West Asia. According to reports, a German naval shipbuilder handed over the INS Dracum at its shipyard in northern Germany. The vessel is reportedly the 6th Dolphin-class submarine in the Israeli Navy. The Dracon measures more than 70 meters and displaces over 2,000 tons. It reportedly costs around $634 million and has a top speed of over 25 knots.
The submarine is reportedly the largest vessel of its kind built in Germany since the Second World War. The name Drakon means dragon. Its unusually large sail has fueled speculation about additional capabilities, including possible vertical launch systems for long-range cruise or ballistic missiles. But those weapon details remain unconfirmed.
The delivery comes as Israel also tested its air-to-air defense system designed to intercept ballistic missiles, including threats from Iran and Yemen.
Israeli defense officials described the Drakon as a major addition to the military's underwater capabilities. The submarine carries unique systems and advanced technology designed to extend the Israel Defense Forces capabilities across multiple arenas. Experts say Israel needs to keep submarines at sea at all times so that at least some vessels remain operational, even if attacks disable naval facilities or other strategic assets.
Now, Israeli defense analysts say the submarine could provide Israel with a critical sea-based deterrent during any major conflict with Iran. The Drakon's larger size could reportedly also give Israel greater operational range. Experts say that could allow its missiles to reach targets in Iran from the Mediterranean, reducing the need for the submarine to approach Iran through the Suez Canal or the Red Sea. A Russian attack on Ukraine's southeastern city of Zaporizhzhia killed 5 people and wounded 20 others.
This comes as Moscow continues to target the country. Ivan Fedorov, head of the Regional Military Administration, confirmed death toll and said Russian forces targeted industrial facilities and infrastructure in Zaporizhia. He added that several residential buildings were also damaged in the attack.
In Kyiv, several explosions were heard overnight. Air raid sirens sounded shortly before the blasts rocked the capital. Kyiv's mayor said the city was under a ballistic missile attack. It comes following the claims by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that Russia had received new ballistic missiles from North Korea.
Meanwhile, Ukraine struck a shopping mall in the Russian-controlled city of Makivka in eastern part of the country. According to local authorities, the attack damaged the building and sparked a fire. An official from Russian Investigative Committee claimed that drones that were used for the attack were manufactured in NATO countries. However, there were no immediate reaction from Kyiv on the strike.
Another Ukrainian drone strike targeted Russia's central region of Tatarstan in what can be described as one of the deadliest attacks carried out by Kyiv during the more than 4-year-long war against Moscow. The strike on the region, which is rich in energy resources and home to several major oil refineries, reportedly killed at least 13 people and injured around 75 others.
Furthermore, South Korea is maintaining a cautious stance on Ukraine's request for air defense support, even as Kiev warns that North Korea could send tens of thousands more troops to Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says up to 50,000 North Korean troops could be deployed, adding to concerns over deepening military cooperation between Moscow and Pyongyang. Seoul, however, says any decision on supplying defense materials will have to comply with South Korean law.
In another development, Russia's Supreme Court has barred the country's only officially registered anti-war party, Yabloko, from contesting next month's parliamentary elections. Ruling comes as party supporters gathered in central Moscow, protesting the decision and accusing authorities of silencing one of the few remaining voices opposing war in Ukraine.
In other global news, U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order calling for a rethink of school vaccination requirements and pushing for separate vaccines for measles, mumps, and rubella instead of the combined MMR shot.
The move comes as the U.S. faces its worst measles outbreak in decades and has drawn strong criticism from medical experts. Trump signed an executive order urging states to review vaccination requirements for school enrollment and attendance. But there is a key limitation. The federal government does not directly control school vaccine mandates. Those decisions are largely made by individual states.
Now, the order also directs the U.S. Health and Human Services Department to work with the private sector and other countries to make separate measles, mumps, and rubella vaccines available. Medical experts have strongly criticized the move. The American Academy of Pediatrics say children should continue receiving the combined MMR vaccine, which has decades of safety data. Experts also warn that separating the three vaccines could create additional appointments and delays, making it harder for some children to receive full protection.
The issue is also closely linked to Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has a long history of promoting vaccine skepticism. Trump and Kennedy have continued to raise questions about a possible link between vaccines and autism, but that claim has been repeatedly debunked by decades of scientific research. There is no established causal link between vaccines and autism.
Now, the timing of Trump's order is particularly significant. It comes just as children across the U.S. prepare to return to school and while the country is experiencing its worst measles outbreak in 35 years. New York City Health Commissioner Alistair Martin criticized the move, saying vaccination recommendations should be based on science, not politics. Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, himself a doctor, also warned that the initiative could increase vaccine hesitancy and make children less safe.
The order does not immediately change vaccination requirements across the U.S. States retain the power to set their own school vaccine rules, but the move signals that changing Americans' vaccination policy remains a major priority for the Trump administration at a time when measles cases are surging and public health officials are urging parents to keep children protected. Staying with the United States War Secretary Pete Hegseth paid tribute to the late Senator Lindsey Graham on Monday as Joint Base Charleston in South Carolina was renamed Joint Base Lindsey Graham.
Now, Graham died on 11 July at 71 from a heart ailment. He was a longtime advocate of a strong U.S. military and a more interventionist role for Washington abroad.
Hegseth also used the ceremony to urge Congress to back a $1.5 trillion Pentagon budget, calling it a historic generational investment in the U.S. military. Graham's sister, Darlene Graham, who was appointed to complete his Senate term, also attended. The proposal would be a sharp increase from last year's roughly $800 billion defense budget. The Pentagon has also received an extra $150 billion under President Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful bill.
This department pays tribute to Lindsey Graham in the naming of this base. But there could be no greater tribute than Congress could give than to invest in our warriors for the full $1.5 trillion.
Meanwhile, President Donald Trump's support for Darlene Graham's Senate bid has faced resistance from some Republican voters and rivals, setting up a competitive primary in South Carolina. Well, a day turns into a pitch black night this Wednesday as a historic total solar eclipse sweeps across the planet.
Scientists also prepare for an unprecedented cosmic event, while astrologers warn of dramatic shifts. Nearly 1 billion people could potentially see a partial solar eclipse, with 15 million in its path of totality. Our next report packs in all the details. Stay with us. You're watching World DNA.
For a few minutes, daylight will collapse into darkness. The sun will turn into a black disk, and around it, a ghostly white crown will suddenly appear. This is the solar corona, the sun's vast outer atmosphere. Normally, it is almost impossible to see because the brilliant surface of the sun overwhelms it. But during totality, the moon blocks that surface almost perfectly, and that changes everything. On August 12th, the corona could reveal something nobody has ever seen in exactly the same form before. Not because scientists have never seen the corona, but because the corona itself is constantly changing. It is shaped by the sun's magnetic field, and that magnetic field is never still. Every eclipse, therefore, captures a unique moment in the life of our star.
So when we have that moment of totality of the moon directly in front of the sun, it reveals the sun's outer wispy atmosphere called the corona, something that's still quite mysterious to astronomers, so we can study it during that moment. So actually, they're incredibly useful as well.
The total eclipse will cross parts of Greenland, Iceland, Spain, northern Russia, and a small part of Portugal. Millions more across Europe and beyond will see a partial eclipse. In Britain and Ireland, the moon will cover roughly 90 to 96% of the sun, with the best views towards the southwest. Eclipse fever is building in Madrid, where residents and visitors are scrambling to get their hands on protective glasses.
It has been a dream for me to see the real one with a sunny day. And this year it will be a solar eclipse during the sunset. So I guess it will be more romantic with all the sunset views. So it will be really exciting to see.
It's extremely beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to this one because That's at sunset. It's a magical time anyway. And yeah, 1 minute 40 of totality. Hopefully I find a nice place on the side of a hill in the countryside.
Astrologers are also closely watching the solar eclipse, viewing it as a period of major shifts, new beginnings, and emotional turning points. For some, it may bring changes in career, relationships, and personal priorities, depending on their zodiac sign and birth chart. But for science, the real attraction is much bigger. For a few fleeting minutes, the moon will switch off the sun's glare and expose a changing world of plasma and magnetic fields. A view that will happen once and never look exactly the same again.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One. From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
The Israeli drone is above our heads all the time in Lebanon. More than 200,000 civilian homes have been destroyed. This looks like it used to be a toy for a little girl. Can't but wonder while I'm walking between all of this rubble, how many lives were destroyed, how many kids were traumatized, how many women lost their families. If this isn't a war crime, then what is? From the southern suburb of Beirut, I'm Radi Francis for WION, World is One.
In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION, World is One. Get the latest updates. Breaking news. Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is One.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION World is One, and this is World DNA with me, Jyotsna Kumar, and my friend here and the colleague, Kripa. Let's begin with the headlines.
I have a response. I put it out today.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
response.
guys.
The relationship is very good.
Donald Trump said his relationship with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu remains very good despite Netanyahu rejecting a US-led Gaza plan calling for Israeli troop withdrawals alongside Hamas disarmament.
Iran's Supreme Leader Moshtaba Khamenei appoints Ali Abdullahi as Armed Forces Chief and Ahmad Wahidi as Revolutionary Guards Commander. The appointments mark Khamenei's first senior military choices since becoming Supreme Leader.
The Washington Post reports Donald Trump secretly left Turkey on a smaller aircraft last month after an alleged Iranian assassination threat. Trump was transferred from Air Force One before flying to Britain.
Colombia's city of Cali imposes an overnight curfew and mobilizes the military after a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake kills at least 111 people, damages infrastructure, and leaves people trapped under rubble amid looting threats.
Ukrainian officials say 5 killed and 20 others wounded in Russian attacks on Zaporizhzhia. Kyiv too comes under a ballistic missile attack, with residents reporting explosions after midnight.
The return of displaced Syrian Kurds to Ras Al Ain suspended after the first group faces an attack. The incident sparks protests threatening a January agreement on reintegrating Kurdish forces and institutions.
BJP called statewide Jharkhand Bandh over alleged police atrocities against students protesting recruitment exam irregularities. CM says students' concerns were heard and assured their demands would be considered.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has clarified that UPI users will not be charged any transaction fee. Rajya Sabha also has cleared the taxation bill and the banker's books evidence bill, allowing digital banking records as legal evidence.
Former Indian captain Sourav Ganguly and his wife Donna allegedly received death threats. The former BCCI president reportedly received 2 letters containing explicit threats to kill him and his wife and also harm his close confidants.
A day after the protest marched to Assembly, the crisis over the Jharkhand Public Service Commission exam irregularities worsens.
The agitation turned tense on Monday when protesters clashed with police near the Jharkhand Assembly.
Several agitators and policemen were injured after demonstrators breached multiple barricades during the protest march. The march started peacefully, but as it progressed towards the assembly, the situation escalated.
As some of the protesters tried to breach the police barricade, police forces used water cannons to disperse the demonstrators. It failed to push back the protesters as some of them were seen dancing amid water cannon action.
ये देखिए अश्रु गैस के गोले छोड़े जा रहे हैं प्रदर्शनकारियों पर अश्रु गैस के गोले छोड़े जा रहे हैं.
Now, to keep the situation under control, police forces resorted to lathi charge and tear gas. Protesters alleged that several people, including women, were injured during the action. While Ranchi police said at least 14 policemen were hurt after stone pelting. Addressing a press conference, police defended the action and said that mild and minimum force were used against protesters.
Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren appealed to the protesters to resolve their grievances through dialogue and trust. He took to social media and wrote, "The government has heard you. Our senior ministers have been in constant dialogue with you, and I assure you that action will be taken on your demands with utmost seriousness and sensitivity." He also trained guns at opposition BJP leaders and accused them of attempting to mislead students for political gains. The Chief Minister urged the student protesters not to fall for political narratives.
The opposition BJP has called for a statewide Jharkhand Bandh on Tuesday to protest police action against students. BJP State President Aditya Sahu said that the shutdown will remain in force till midnight. He has also added that essential services will be exempted. BJP has also accused the government of treating protesting students like criminals during the march.
The leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, condemned the police action on students, underscoring that peaceful protest is a right. Rahul Gandhi wrote on X, and I quote it here, "Only dialogue can yield solutions, and the Jharkhand government must continue to hear these students out and resolve their issues immediately." The comments came amid BJP's repeated criticism over Rahul Gandhi's silence on Jharkhand, a state ruled by INDIA bloc ally.
Meanwhile, CID has tightened the noose around the accused in the Jharkhand Public Service Commission irregularities case. Former JPSC chairperson Eric Kyangte has been arrested on Monday in connection with the case.
The Indian Navy has stepped up security in the Red Sea, escorting 2 crude oil tankers through high-risk waters near the Bab el-Mandeb Strait.
INS Trishul and INS Aditya escorted MT Compass and MT Thalata on 9th and 10th of August as India maintains heightened vigilance over vulnerable shipping routes. The Navy's Western Command also deployed a naval helicopter to monitor the operation from the air. The move comes amid renewed threats to commercial shipping in the Red Sea, including an attack on an Indian-flagged vessel earlier this month. On 4th of August, MSV Fez Noor Aliyah sank south of Hodeidah after being hit by a projectile. All 14 crew members, including 13 Indians and 1 Yemeni national, were rescued safely.
Now, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, it is a key maritime choke point linking the Red Sea with the Gulf of Aden and carrying major energy and trade flows. The Navy is therefore maintaining a heightened presence and escorting vulnerable commercial vessels as Houthi-related security threats persist in the region.
Now, the Union Territory of Ladakh is all set to become the first region to demonstrate how caste will be enumerated in independent India census.
The population enumeration of the second phase of the 2027 census will begin in Ladakh. 40 parameters are expected to be covered in the second phase, including an open-ended question on caste. The population enumeration will begin in the snowbound areas from August 17, with house-to-house enumeration to follow. The government has also notified September 1 to 30 as the period in Ladakh and other non-synchronous snowbound areas, with a revisional round from October 1 to 5. Self-enumeration will be available from August 17 to 31. The exercise in Ladakh is different as it is not part of the July pre-test conducted in 16 states and union territories. Master trainers are thereby being prepared using tentative questions ahead of the final notification.
The census will be digital, but Ladakh will also use paper schedules, keeping in mind of security issues along the line of actual control. The open column approach also revives a major challenge seen in the 2011 socio-economic caste census, which recorded more than 46 lakh different caste names. The 2027 census will therefore be a landmark exercise, testing how India can record caste at a national scale, while also balancing security, digital enumeration, and data accuracy.
Ferocious winds, torrential rain, mass evacuations and widespread flooding. Typhoon Dolphin has unleashed its fury on eastern China.
But the atmospheric disturbance caused from the storm could have far-reaching consequences, thousands of kilometers away, specifically for India's monsoon. Even as that threat looms, authorities in China are gauging the full scale of the typhoon's destruction.
China issued a red typhoon warning after Dolphin made 2 landfalls. Authorities across eastern China raised emergency response levels as floods, landslides and typhoon damage threaten communities. More than 1 million people have been evacuated. Hundreds of flights and trains have been suspended or cancelled. Authorities have also released water from rivers and reservoirs as water levels continue to rise.
Shanghai has taken a direct hit from the torrential rain. Suburban areas and residential compounds have been flooded. Metro operations and ferry services have been disrupted. Rescue teams have evacuated residents and pumped out floodwater.
It was raining for almost the whole night last night. When I got up today, I found the compound was flooded everywhere. The street is flooded as well. That's basically the situation we see now.
But floodwater is not the only threat there. Eyewitness video showed a truck being flipped on its side as heavy rain and powerful winds pounded Wenzhou in eastern Zhejiang province. Winds of up to 151 kilometers per hour were recorded near the typhoon center when it made landfall in a province around 300 kilometers southwest of Shanghai.
Dolphin is the 13th typhoon of 2026, and it is the strongest typhoon to hit China this year. More than 900 trees have been damaged in Wenzhou.
Dolphin has now also weakened to a tropical storm, but the threat is not over. The slow-moving system can still bring prolonged heavy rain, keeping the risk of floods and landslides high. In Hong Kong, the story has been very different, but just as extreme. The typhoon's outer airflow has pushed temperatures to extreme levels. Residents and tourists have been searching for shade and relief. Hong Kong has even recorded its hottest days since official meteorological records began in 1884. Temperatures could hit 37 degrees Celsius or higher in some areas.
Typhoon Dolphin is nearly 4,000 kilometers from India. The atmospheric pattern behind the storm could reportedly weaken India's monsoon. The Pacific is currently highly active, with multiple tropical systems developing near Japan, Vietnam, the Philippines. And when that happens, it can disturb the large-scale air circulation that links the Pacific, the Indian Ocean, and India. El Nino-like conditions could push tropical storms and clouds eastward, and that can change airflow and reduce the atmospheric systems that help power India's monsoon.
Construction workers in Pakistan face a growing threat from extreme heat.
Well, for more than 1 million workers across over 18,000 kilns, the heat is compounded by low wages, debt, and limited access to breaks. As climate change intensifies heat exposure, a dangerous job is becoming even more hazardous. Our next report gives you more details. Take a look. Pakistan's brick workers are facing increasingly dangerous working conditions as temperatures rise. Traditional kilns burn at more than 1,000 degrees Celsius, while outdoor temperatures can climb well above 40 degrees in summer. Workers spend hours on the heated surface, feeding coal and monitoring the fires. Labor advocates say the combination of intense heat from the kiln and rising temperatures above is increasing the risks of heat stress, dehydration, and long-term health problems.
If I take time off, we'll be in trouble. Because of our situation, we simply can't take leave. No matter the situation, whether we are ill or there are family matters, we still have to work to meet our basic needs. The heat is undoubtedly extreme, but when you think about the financial pressures at home, you have no option but to keep working. The sun is there for everyone, but for us, it's tied to our work.
The brick industry supports more than 1 million workers across over 18,000 kilns in Pakistan. Many earn around 25,000 Pakistani rupees, or about $90 a month. Labor groups also point to advance payments and debt, which can leave workers tied to kilns and unable to refuse dangerous conditions. Health experts warn that prolonged exposure can contribute to skin disorders, respiratory illnesses, and kidney disease.
Brick kiln workers commonly suffer from two major health problems: respiratory diseases and skin disorders. Continuous exposure to dust, dirt, and smoke significantly increases the risk of these conditions. Dust and smoke particles are inhaled into the lungs and also settle on the skin. Then, when they sweat, their skin pores are open, allowing dust and smoke particles to penetrate more easily. This can trigger various kinds of diseases and allergies.
Pakistan's government is pushing the brick industry towards zigzag kilns, a more modern technology that can reduce air pollution and exposure to harmful emissions. But the transition remains incomplete, while workers at traditional kilns continue to face extreme heat. Supervisors say long breaks are difficult because kiln temperatures have to remain stable.
For those working with the furnace who are responsible for the fire, there is very little chance that they can rest. There's heat above and there's heat below, but their job cannot be interrupted because maintaining consistent kiln temperature is critical in the brick firing process. One worker may occasionally be relieved for a quick drink, but nothing more.
For workers, the problem is therefore not only climate change, but also low wages, debt, and limited alternatives. As Pakistan faces increasing climate risks, improving kiln technology and working conditions will be critical to protecting the people who keep the country's construction industry running. Business Bureau Report, WION, World is One. Now, South Korea is launching a $3.5 billion semiconductor fund.
This is to support chip materials, parts, equipment, and fabless chip design firms as Seoul expands its chip manufacturing capacity to meet demand from artificial intelligence. The fund is part of President Lee Jae-myung's semiconductor mega project, which could see Samsung Electronics, SK Hynix, suppliers, and local governments invest more than $576 billion in new projects. The government will also provide another $3.5 billion in trade finance and launch a 10-year program to support cooperation between large chip makers and smaller suppliers.
Seoul also plans a new mega special zone law to speed up permits, environmental reviews, and infrastructure work. One key project is a chip complex in Gwangju, where the government wants a military air base relocated by mid-2028.
The government says power and water supplies will be critical. The Gwangju South Jeolla cluster is expected to get 650,000 tons of water daily by 2030, while the Yongjin chip hub will get 14.7 gigawatts of power by 2041. Seoul says more than $246.9 billion of other chip projects are due to begin or expand this year, with another $40.2 billion going into research and development. From the world of sports now, 3 major confederations have officially turned on FIFA President Gianni Infantino.
Well, the football bodies of Europe, Asia, and North America have written a joint open letter to the football family accusing Infantino of deception. Infantino's privatization plan might be abandoned, but it continues to put pressure on Infantino. 3 major footballing confederations have now rejected FIFA's explanation that the controversy was simply a communication failure, while they now argue that the episode reflects a much deeper problem with how decisions are being made at the top of world football.
The confederations claimed that the proposal had been advanced on a compressed timeline without meaningful consultation and pushed towards a deadline before member associations could examine its terms. Referring to FIFA's explanation, the joint letter said, and I quote it here, "It did not acknowledge that the proposal itself was inherently wrong. There remains no recognition that attempting to sell an interest in the FIFA World Cup was a profound failure of judgment. Not just a procedural misstep, but a fundamental breach of trust with the very institutions FIFA exists to serve."
Now, the confederations also questioned FIFA's decision to conduct its own review of the episode, calling for an independent third-party investigation. The confederations claimed that the meeting in Morocco had only 1 elected official present and no FIFA Council members or member associations were invited to participate. The statement ended with a call for unity and leadership that serves football rather than seeks to control it.
This comes after FIFA defended Infantino against what it described as a quote-unquote concerted effort to undermine his leadership.
The cinematic legacy of late Indian filmmaker Satyajit Ray continues to serve as a profound source of inspiration, with contemporary filmmakers increasingly revisiting the auteur's life, struggles, and masterpieces.
The latest endeavor comes from National Award-winning filmmaker Srijit Mukherjee. He is preparing to bring the extraordinary behind-the-scenes story of Ray's 1969 classic, Gopi Gaini Vagha Baini, to the silver screen. The project has been titled Maharaja Tomare Salam. It has borrowed the name from an iconic song in the original film. The upcoming project places Ray at the center of the narrative. The film will chronicle the immense pressures the maestro faced to bring the movie to life. It will be set against the backdrop of a politically volatile Kolkata. It was one of Ray's most deceptively layered works. Released in 1969, the story famously followed 2 banished village musicians who used magical powers granted by the King of Ghosts to stop a war. The role was played by Tapin Chatterjee and Ravi Ghosh. It was in this movie series where Ray contributed his voice for the role of Bhutar Raja.
Now, Ray's movie series was layered with political commentaries of the era. In 1980, sequel of the film, Hirak Raja Deshe, was also layered critical commentary on former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's regime. The beloved trilogy was concluded in 1992 with Gopi Bhage Fire Elo. Well, that's all on World DNA for today. But don't go anywhere. News and updates will follow on the other side. Here are some images that have been drawing attention from across the world. Stay tuned. You're watching WION World is One.
Get the latest updates. Breaking news. Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is one.
Know more? Understand better? Think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays, 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing. In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION World is One. I'm Adya Juneja and this is Speed News. Let's start with all the stories making headlines today. US President Donald Trump said that he will demand that Iran must pay compensation for all of the people that they have killed and gravely wounded. Well, this as in response to Iran seeking compensation for the damages it has incurred from US and Israeli attacks. Now, Trump's social media post came after Iran said over the weekend that it was nearing a deal with Oman defining new shipping lanes between them through the Strait of Hormuz. But Iran also repeated that the US must meet conditions including compensation and an end to sanctions and military threats before the strategic waterway is reopened. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said that the calculations of enemies of Iran based on artificial intelligence data, espionage networks, hired elements and their domestic proxies have been thwarted. But speaking at a conference at the University of Tehran, Pezeshkian underscored the exceptional foresight and prudence of killed leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei, in managing the country. Well, he stressed that Iran's current stability and security are owed to the guidance of Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei. He also said that despite all the pressures and restrictions imposed by the enemies, the late leader's thinking, path and guidance have consistently served as a guiding light for the country. Recently released footage shows the damage at Yemen's Mocha port after an attack by Iran-backed Houthi rebels. The visuals showed damaged boats, warehouses and debris inside the port. Houthi rebels attacked the Red Sea port town controlled by government forces on Sunday, killing 7 and injuring 30 people. Yemen's defense ministry, which operates under its internationally recognized government, said 4 military personnel and 3 civilians were killed. Now, the attack on Mocha is the latest in one of the largest waves of Houthi strikes on Yemeni military positions and areas held by the Saudi-backed government since a 2022 truce. United Nations said that the personal envoy for Yemen warned over the weekend that the country faces a greater risk of renewed large-scale conflict. UN Deputy Spokesperson Farhan Haq told reporters that the Yemen envoy noted that the recent developments risk jeopardizing the gains of the truce, reflected in the relative calm that has held inside Yemen in recent years. At least 24 people were injured in Zaporizhzhia after a Russian glide bomb struck the city on Monday. Ukraine's State Emergency Service said in a statement on social media that a 6-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl were among the injured. State Emergency Service of Ukraine said that as a result of the attack, the roof of a 5-story building was damaged as well as multiple vehicles. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Monday issued a warning over further cooperation between Russia and North Korea in the war in Ukraine, while he claimed that Pyongyang was preparing to send an additional contingent and missiles to help Moscow. While Zelensky also stressed the more military experience North Korea gains in eastern Ukraine, the greater the danger will later be for Japan, South Korea, Philippines and other countries in the region. He also warned of further Ukrainian deep strikes on Russia territory, calling on Moscow to come to the negotiating table. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs has taken note of reports of Russian attacks across Ukraine that have killed and injured numerous civilians, including children, over the past 3 days. Well, the UN has noted that humanitarian operations have also been impacted. UN has stated that an attack in the city of Dnipro destroyed a World Health Organization warehouse containing medical supplies for frontline health facilities. Gaza remains in crisis as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday once again dismissed the deal announced by President Donald Trump last month. Netanyahu said Israel's military will not carry out any withdrawal until Hamas is genuinely disarmed. Well, Netanyahu told a cabinet meeting on Sunday that Israel rejects the 15-point document but is still discussing plans for Gaza with Washington. Now, Trump had said Israeli forces would withdraw as the Hamas militant group's disarmament is completed. Israeli forces control over half the Palestinian enclave of about 2 million people that has been largely destroyed. Well, there was no immediate White House comment on Netanyahu's statement. Search and rescue efforts are underway in western Colombia after the region was rocked by a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake. Colombian president said at least 111 people had died in the earthquake. Monday's earthquake rattled 3 cities in the region and the surrounding regions as well, but around 1,600 buildings were reportedly damaged or collapsed, while families searched for missing loved ones over citizen-run websites set up to publish their information. By Monday night, 1,900 people had been reported missing. The Colombian president said that Bogota will act as a central base to control the rescue efforts in the areas affected by the 7.4 earthquake that hit western Colombia. He said that besides the Central Command Center in Bogota, there are other outposts